Hi, I'm Dan Vega. I wanted to take a few minutes and spend some time with you. I know I've been out of the limelight for a while. I've taken a hiatus to spend time with family, and I'm battling a cold, so bear with me. Most of you know I get a lot of emails of people asking me about personal coaching, and I don't do a lot of personal coaching anymore, but I do still continue to get the emails. I get a lot of emails asking me business advice. So I wanted to start taking a little time out of my days to just answer some basic business questions to maybe see if we can help that entrepreneur out there who's struggling. I have a email here from a young entrepreneur. Basically just says, "Dear Dan, as a young entrepreneur with limited capital and limited experience, if you have a really good idea, what's one piece of advice you could give?" You know, a lot of people out there right now have a really good idea, and because of the market or other variables, we're hesitant to kind of follow our dreams. Maybe we have children or a mortgage and we feel like we need security, and we're kind of afraid to kind of leap in and follow our dreams. And you know what I would say to an entrepreneur out there, if they're asking for one piece of advice, would be to get started. There's a big misconception about business in that you need all of the how you're going to do it. If you have a good idea, you need all the how you're going to do it before you get started. And that never happens in business. If you were waiting to collect all the how you're going to do it, by the time you collect all the how you're going to do it, the world has changed so much that the how is not applicable anymore, and you need a new how. And many of the great companies we see around today wouldn't be around if they waited for that. So when you have a great idea and you really believe in it and you have a strong conviction and you're passionate about it, you might only have 10 or 15% of the how, but I can tell you the best piece of advice you can give somebody would be to just get started. You know, if you have limited funds, allocate a certain amount of funds. It might be $300 or $500, and say, what can I get done for this money, and get started. And I promise you the how will come later. And I think that the reason that more people don't do this is because people are afraid of failure. You know, don't be so afraid of failing. You're gonna fail, but if you have $300 to $500 on the line, you can't fall too far, right? And you know, I'm hesitant. Remember this too. I'm hesitant to do business with anybody that hasn't failed a lot, because if somebody has a lot of money because they were in the right place at the right time, or they were a part of a dot-com boom, or their last name got them there, or you know, somebody opened a door for them, or they won the lottery or something like that, then having that wealth was really a fluke the first time. It was something that happened by chance or accident. And we know that as entrepreneurs, success comes in waves. You have high tides and low tides, right? And when those low tides come in, or the world changes enough to where that low tide comes in and cleans their clock, so to speak, which happens to most entrepreneurs in their career, they have no idea how to get that back, because they don't understand the rules of cause and effect. They don't understand what actions to take to bring back that reaction. And you know, people that have failed over and over and over, you know, they become very tough people. That we might make mistakes or take risk in business, and sometimes we're wrong, and we might slide back quite a bit. But you know, we've learned how to adapt and how to keep moving forward, how to keep getting up. And you know, I think it's important. Failure is a great learning tool. Ideally, we could learn from other people's mistakes, but you know, failure is a great learning tool. And when I write a business plan to start a new company, I allot part of that business plan where there's a time period written in there, usually about 90 days, where we're going to fail. And I know we're writing this to fail, because in a classroom or in an office, you can only get so much in theory. This should work, this looks good, this should work, we could hire people and they should be able to accomplish this. You can only get so far in theory. And then there's a time when you have to go to the streets and you have to beta test the rest of that business plan to make sure it's going to work. And so I might be starting a program where I'll draw out a program and say, here's the program we're going to implement on Monday. And some of my own team might say, well, that's not going to work. And my response is, yeah, I know, right? It's not going to work at all. But it's going to tell me exactly what elements work and what don't. And then I can refine that program and put it back out there. And I have to start somewhere. So, there's absolutely nothing wrong with failing. Don't be afraid of failing. But I will say, try to fail fast. Put a time in it and say, you know what, for the next 90 days, we're going to fail our butt off. But at that time, we need to collect enough data to be able to really refine and hammer down a really solid strategy and go from there. So again, don't be so consumed with failure. What I think is most people get caught up in fear to where they overanalyze their situation so many times. What if I leave my secure job and I try that thing I love? What if I get fired and for trying to do this on the side and then I don't have something secure? And we play our situations over in our mind over and over and over so many times that we get paralysis by what I call overanalysis. We've overanalyzed our situation to the point of frozen with fear, and then we're afraid to take any action, good or bad. We're afraid to be proactive at all, so we become very reactive, and we wait while we see these other entrepreneurs taking risks and a lot of them making it. So, what I would say, if you're looking for a little bit of confidence, Google, the 30 under 30. You could see a lot of young entrepreneurs with a great idea that have gotten out there, and many of them no more investment than sweat equity. But I will tell you, fortunately, we still live in a place where if you have a great idea and you work hard, we can still attain the lifestyles that we want. And so my advice would be to get started. Don't wait. Don't be overwhelmed with fear. Allocate a certain amount of funds that you're comfortable with losing, and get out there and start your dream. And you'll be surprised when that passion kicks in and you're doing what you love. You'll be surprised on what can happen in a very short period of time. So I appreciate you guys. I just wanted to take a few minutes. I get that question all the time. There's so much more we can cover, but I wanted to take a minute of my day. And if you want more business advice, you can follow me on Twitter at Dan_Vega1, or you can go to our official Facebook page. And if you have a question that you want to have answered, I don't know how regular I can do this, but go to our Facebook official page. Let me know what your question is, and I'll do my best to answer it and help in any way I can. Okay? Thank you very much.